worst homeowner ever. I can't do anything, and you start putting that like septic on me.
I had a septic in one of my old houses, and the pump broke, and then first the toilet bowl started back up, and then the tub started filling up with piss and shit. Fun times. It's like all of a sudden we're in the bathroom downstairs and the tub starts filling up. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? And what it was
this Colorado?
No, it was, when I was in the hills. There was I had a house, and there was the septic tank was slightly above the house, so you had a pump to get to the septic tank. So you'd pump the waste into the tank. It's not a good idea. Like, ideally, they always want the tank to be below, so it's like a natural flow. So the pump broke. So the tank started backing up into the house. Fun times.
That's the things that I couldn't do it. If I had the money, I would just buy that as, all right, this is our studio. We don't live there.
Right.
Guests can stay here. We'll make this into a place like this.
That's a great idea.
It would be.
Get a fucking airplane, Douglas. Can you fly?
No, but
learn.
But I know a pilot.
Ooh,
Like,
better than
Oh,
flying.
he actually has a real gig now. He would come down. He was a fan, and he would fly into Bisbee from Tucson just to get his hours. Because when he was to get his commercial license, and he came to not a Super Bowl party. The last special I taped. He came down. Flew down with a bunch of his friends. We taped it in Bisbee, my last special, and so the next morning he flew back over the house, and he had put Stan and Hope under each wing, and he buzzed our house. It was very cool.
That's awesome.
But now he's a commercial guy for SkyWest, the Delta partner, and he actually picked me up at the airport when I flew back from Hawaii.
So he was learning how to fly,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden he's a professional?
Yeah, and that's how he had to build up hours. So he'd take these,
How many
jaunts
hours do you
down and-
get before you get to fly a jumbo jet
I
across
didn't
the
ask
ocean?
him a lot of questions other than, hey, can you fly me to LA like if I needed to?
You want to talk about underappreciated people? The people that know how to pilot their planes. 1,500 hours? That's it?
And they make dick for money.
I know.
You ever read those
Crazy.
stories where, like, in New York, where they have these, like, single rooms with, like, 8 bunk beds?
It's all
Where the-
pilots living in there?
Yeah, when they have to lay over because
Really?
they can't afford.
What is this, Jamie?
And 250.
1,500 for hours?
Only 250 for commercial, so I think that's not transporting people, maybe.
250 hours of flight time. That doesn't seem like a lot. Remember how bad you drove when you were 20? How bad did you drive when you were 20? It's terrible.
I remember
It's terrible.
driving piece of shit cars with no worries. That like now, just to go to the store, I'd go, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it in this car.
I used to buy a lot of shitty cars to deliver newspapers in. So I'd buy a car for like $300, just beat it into the ground and get rid of it.
I would do that when I lived on the road and doing like triple gigs where I'd have to drive 11 hours from Arizona to southern Wyoming,
And hope the car makes it.
and you can see the ground through the passenger side. Floor is rusted out. You can actually see pavement. And you drive those cars forever until they died, and then hitchhike to the next town and hope you know a comic there that can get you to the city for the gig.
Could you have ever imagined when you were 21 or however old you were when you first started doing the road, that one day you would look back on those horrible nights with like nostalgia?
I knew it then. I knew it
Did
was
you?
nostalgic then. Like,
I didn't. I was ashamed. I didn't think it was. I just was like, I'm a loser. Yeah, I wasn't enjoying it at all.
I think there's probably a big difference between doing it on the East Coast in Boston and congestion rather than the great wide open of Montana and
Yeah,
Idaho. And
that's the shows are probably bleaker though. Like we had shows, like you would do a lot of road gigs, but they were good gigs. Like they weren't like the boom of the late '80s. I started in '88, and I started doing gigs on the road, like hell gigs on the road, in probably like '89. And there was a lot of gigs back then that were really good. You would go somewhere, there'd be 300 people, it'd be a great crowd, 150 people in a bar, everybody's there, they love comedy night. Like, some of them were really good. But it's just the never knowing if you're gonna make enough money to pay the bills and the stress of being poor.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of bills living out of my car.
Well, that's a way to
There's
do
a lot
it.
of downtime and a lot of questionable choices in ladies just because you needed a place to stay for
Oh,
4
no.
days before El Paso.
Dangerous gigolo days. The gigolo days of Doug Stanhope. Yeah. The travel on the road thing is you get a view of the country that if you really stop and think about it, like how many different places you've been and your understanding of America. Like, you've been everywhere. You've been all the different spots. Get a chance. Okay, this is how they rock it over here. All right, this is how they do it in Detroit. This is how they are. New Orleans is different. Oh, Connecticut's a little different. And then you put it all together and you get America. But if you're just like a dude who just like parks it in Columbus, Ohio, and fucking that's that.
And all you know is
Yeah.
CNN and TMZ.
Fuck.
You go, this is what the country's coming
These
to.
fucking libs. These fucking libs with their fucking new rules. Yeah, it's
And when you're out amongst people, no one really gives a fuck.
no one gives a fuck.
It's bar chatter at best, but you never run into people that are actually affected. You don't.
Unless you're looking for it.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's a non-issue, but it's the most pressing issue because it can shift the country one way or another. That's what's weird about it.
But no one gives a fuck about the things that actually affect them locally.
Yeah.
The thing that sets that